She looked like every other grandmother, but her silence held a secret that could shatter the family's peace. She always appeared gentle, with her silver hair neatly tied back and her wrinkled hands busy with a shawl or a rosary. To everyone, she was simply Grandma, the one who shared bedtime stories and served warm soup on cold nights. But underneath her soft voice and patient smile was a heavy truth lodged in her heart. For years, she carried it, hidden like a shadow she could never escape. The family thought they knew her, but they only knew the version she chose to show. Deep down, she had lived a life no one could imagine, a life trapped behind white walls that looked holy but were filled with silence and pain. One rainy evening, when the outside world was dark and still, Grandma called her granddaughter to sit closer. Her voice was softer than usual, her eyes watery, and her hands trembled as they gripped the edge of her chair. She whispered words that shattered the stillness of the room. "There are things I have never told anyone," she said, "but I cannot leave this world with them locked inside me." At first, the granddaughter thought it was just another story, but then she realized this was no fairy tale. This was a confession, one that bore sorrow, fear, and a truth that could shift her view of the woman she loved forever. Grandma began her story in a place many considered holy. As a young girl, she had been sent to live in a convent. From the outside, it seemed like a piece of heaven. The white walls, shining crosses, and voices singing hymns made people believe it was home to angels. The villagers trusted it, thinking anyone who lived there belonged to God. But Grandma's voice broke when she said, inside those walls, angels forgot how to fly. Each day was filled with rules, silence, and eyes watching every move. Every prayer she whispered was wrapped in fear, and every hymn she sang masked pain. The world believed the nuns lived in peace, but the truth was quite different. The robes that seemed pure were sometimes worn by hands that hurt, by voices that wounded, and by hearts that held no mercy. Her voice shook as she recounted the years spent in silence. She was just a girl when she entered, too young to grasp the weight of the vows, too innocent to know what awaited her. Days turned into nights, and nights became years. She spoke of long corridors echoing her footsteps, heavy doors shutting her out from the world, and rules that crushed her spirit. There was no laughter, no warmth, no comfort. She silently carried her pain, hiding her tears and pretending to be strong. The outside world thought she had chosen a holy path, but the truth was she had been trapped, yearning for freedom. The convent was meant to be a place of light, but for her, it became a cage made of silence. Then came the night she would never forget. The sky rumbled with thunder while heavy rain poured down as if the heavens were crying. Grandma, along with a few young women, made the hardest decision of their lives. They slipped through the shadows, their habits soaked, with hearts pounding in fear. The villagers believed they had drowned in the storm or run away with forbidden lovers, but the truth was darker than any rumor. They weren't fleeing to embrace sin, they were running to survive, to breathe air free from silence, to find lives that belonged to them. That stormy night was both terrifying and liberating. It was the night they escaped the walls that had silenced them. Grandma lowered her eyes as she spoke of what happened next. For many years, she lived in hiding. She moved from place to place, carrying her secret like a heavy cloak. She built a family, became a wife, and later a mother, but she never revealed the truth about her past or what she had endured. Even when she laughed, even when she held her children close, a part of her remained confined within those white walls. She smiled for the world, but at night, when the house was quiet, she lay awake, remembering the cries, the silence, and the storms she had once lived through. Her silence was her shield, and for decades, no one knew. Now, sitting in her chair, her voice cracked as she finally shared the truth she had carried alone. Her granddaughter listened, wide-eyed and silent, feeling as if the very walls of the house had shifted. The woman she had always seen as gentle and ordinary was suddenly revealed to be someone far stronger, someone who had survived unimaginable storms. Tears streamed down Grandma's face as she said, "I cannot change the past, but I can tell the truth before I go." In her confession, she found freedom. And in her granddaughter's heart, the story would live on, not as a tale of shame, but as proof of courage,